Life will test you. You will face setbacks, disappointments, and moments where you feel like everything is against you. That's a guarantee. But here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you let life break you, or do you use those challenges to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient? Mentally strong people don't crumble under pressure. They don't allow fear, doubt, or negativity to control them. Instead, they build a mindset that allows them to face anything with clarity, confidence, and inner peace. This isn't about pretending life is easy. It's about mastering yourself, so no matter what happens, you remain unshaken. The ancient Stoics understood this better than anyone. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man of his time, wrote to himself every day, reminding himself that life is unpredictable, that hardships are inevitable, but that his response was always within his control. He knew that true strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulties, but from training your mind to rise above them. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, the 6 habits that separate the mentally strong from everyone else. These aren't just theories, they're practical, battle-tested principles that you can start applying today to build an unshakable mindset. So stay with me until the very end, because every single point we're about to discuss is crucial. Don't skip around, or you'll miss the key that could change everything for you. And if you appreciate what we're doing here, there's one simple free favor I'll ask. Hit that subscribe button. It takes a second, but it makes a huge difference in helping us keep bringing you valuable content. Now, let's dive in. 1. Embrace change and the unknown. Nothing in life stays the same. The seasons change, people come and go, and the world keeps moving, whether we're ready for it or not. Yet, so many of us resist change as if clinging to what's familiar will somehow stop the inevitable. But let me ask you this. Has holding on ever made life easier, or has it only made transitions more painful? We fear change because it forces us out of our comfort zones. It disrupts our routines, shakes our sense of control, and makes us question where we're headed. But here's the truth. Change is not the enemy. The real danger lies in resisting it. Because the more you fight against reality, the more suffering you create for yourself. The ancient Stoics understood this well. They didn't waste energy wishing things were different. Instead, they trained themselves to adapt, to see every shift in life as an opportunity rather than a threat. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, ruled an empire during war, plague, and betrayal. He could have spent his days complaining, asking, "Why is this happening to me?" But instead he reminded himself, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very obstacles we fear are often the path forward. If we learn to work with change instead of against it, we become stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Think about it. When has something unexpected forced you to grow? Maybe it was losing a job, ending a relationship, or moving to a new place. At first, it probably felt overwhelming, even painful. But looking back, didn't it also shape you into who you are today? The problem is, we only see the wisdom in change after we've survived it. But what if we could shift our mindset while we're going through it? What if, instead of resisting, we asked ourselves, what is this teaching me? How can I use this to my advantage? The Stoics had a saying, amor fati, which means love your fate. Not just accept it, not just tolerate it, love it. Love the challenges, love the unexpected detours, love the things that push you to grow, even when they don't feel good in the moment. Because every change, no matter how difficult, is shaping you into someone stronger. And here's the key. Mentally strong people lean into discomfort. They don't wait for perfect conditions to take action. They don't waste energy wishing things would go back to the way they were. They adapt. They adjust their sails to the winds of change instead of fighting the current. And in doing so, they remain steady, no matter how stormy life gets. So the next time change comes knocking, and it will, pause for a moment. Instead of reacting with fear, ask yourself, how can I use this? Because when you stop resisting change, you start mastering it. And that's the mindset that will carry you through anything. 2. Take control of emotions. Don't let them control you. You've probably had moments where your emotions got the best of you, where anger led to an argument you later regretted, or fear held you back from taking an opportunity that could have changed your life. We've all been there. Emotions are powerful, and when left unchecked, they can control our actions, dictate our decisions, and even shape the course of our lives. But here's the thing. Mentally strong people don't let their emotions control them. They control their emotions. Now, that doesn't mean they suppress what they feel. Stoicism isn't about becoming an emotionless robot. It's about mastering your reactions. The Stoics understood that emotions in themselves aren't the problem. It's our response to them that determines whether they serve us or destroy us. Marcus Aurelius put it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about the last time someone said something that irritated you. Maybe a rude comment, an unfair criticism, or even just someone cutting you off in traffic. What was your first instinct? To react immediately? To lash out? That's what most people do. But what if instead you paused for a second and asked yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter tomorrow? That small pause, that moment of awareness, is the difference between being ruled by your emotions and mastering them. Seneca, another great Stoic, advised that when anger rises, don't act on it right away. Give it time to settle, because in the heat of the moment, we often make choices that we later regret. And isn't that true? How many times have we said or done something in an emotional state, only to look back and wish we had handled it differently? The truth is, emotions are like the weather, unpredictable, constantly changing, and often beyond our control. But just like a sailor doesn't try to control the wind, we shouldn't try to suppress our emotions. Instead, we should learn to navigate them. A skilled sailor adjusts their sails, knowing that the storm will pass. And in the same way, mentally strong people acknowledge their emotions but refuse to let them steer the ship. Now, does this mean we should ignore how we feel? Not at all. The Stoics weren't about denying emotions, but rather understanding them. When fear shows up, ask, what is this fear trying to tell me? When sadness appears, ask, what lesson is hidden here? Emotions can be teachers if we learn to listen without letting them take over. And here's where it gets really powerful. Once you realize that you decide how to respond, nothing can shake you. Insults lose their sting, failures become stepping stones, and unexpected events no longer throw you off balance. Because you understand that your power lies in your reaction, not in the event itself. So the next time you feel anger, fear, or frustration rising, pause. Take a deep breath. Remind yourself that you are in control. Your emotions do not define you. Your actions do. And the stronger your ability to manage your emotions, the stronger you become in every aspect of life. 3. Set boundaries to protect your time and energy. Your time and energy are your most valuable resources, yet they're also the easiest to give away. Every day, people pull you in different directions. Work demands your attention, friends ask for favors, family needs your support, and social media constantly fights for a piece of your mind. Before you know it, you're exhausted, stretched thin, and left with nothing for yourself. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't let the world dictate where their energy goes. They set boundaries and protect their space like their life depends on it, because in many ways it does. The Stoics understood this well. They believed that our most precious asset isn't money or possessions, it's our inner peace. And yet most of us give it away without thinking twice. Seneca warned against this when he said, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." Think about that for a moment. If someone tried to take money from your pocket, you'd resist. But when people take your time, your most irreplaceable asset, you give it away freely. Why? Maybe it's guilt. Maybe it's fear of disappointing others. Maybe it's the habit of always putting others first. But here's the thing. Saying yes to everyone else all the time means saying no to yourself. And mentally strong people don't do that. They understand that without clear boundaries, they'll never have the time or energy to focus on what truly matters, whether that's their goals, their health, or their peace of mind. So, how do you start setting boundaries? First, recognize that it's not selfish, it's necessary. Saying no to something that drains you doesn't mean you don't care. It means you value yourself enough to protect your well-being. You wouldn't let someone walk into your home and trash the place, so why let people invade your mental space with negativity, unnecessary obligations, or constant distractions? One of the biggest misconceptions about boundaries is that they push people away. But in reality, the right people respect boundaries. The ones who don't, they were never meant to have full access to you in the first place. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, the people and energy you allow into your life shape who you become. If you surround yourself with constant stress, drama, and obligations that don't serve you, don't be surprised if you feel drained, anxious, or lost. Now, let's talk about practical ways to set boundaries. First, identify what truly matters to you. What are your priorities? What fuels your energy instead of depleting it? Once you're clear on that, it becomes easier to say no to everything that doesn't align with those values. Next, practice the art of saying no without over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a detailed justification for protecting your time. A simple, "I can't commit to that right now," is enough. And most importantly, don't feel guilty. Protecting your energy isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect. If you don't prioritize yourself, no one else will do it for you. At the end of the day, setting boundaries isn't about shutting people out. It's about making sure you have enough energy for what truly matters. When you stop saying yes to every demand and start saying yes to yourself, you'll notice something incredible. You feel lighter, more focused, and in control of your life. And that, my friend, is the foundation of true mental strength. 4. Take responsibility for your actions. Life doesn't always go the way we want. We face setbacks, make mistakes, and sometimes find ourselves in situations that feel unfair. It's easy to blame circumstances, point fingers, or tell ourselves that we're just unlucky. But here's the hard truth. Mentally strong people don't waste time making excuses. They take full responsibility for their actions, their choices, and ultimately, their lives. The Stoics believed that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. Epictetus put it best when he said, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." That's what real strength looks like. Owning your decisions, learning from your mistakes, and refusing to see yourself as a victim of life's circumstances. Think about the most successful, resilient people you know. Do they sit around complaining about how unfair life is? Or do they take action, adjust, and find a way forward? The difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's responsibility. When you own your actions, you take back your power. When you blame others, you give that power away. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean being overly critical of yourself or beating yourself up for past mistakes. That's not the point. The goal isn't to drown in guilt, it's to learn and improve. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, believed that every failure was an opportunity for self-reflection. He advised that at the end of each day, we should review our actions and ask, what did I do well? What could I have done better? What will I improve tomorrow? That's how you grow, not by avoiding mistakes, but by using them as stepping stones. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Think of a challenge you're facing right now. Maybe it's a financial issue, a relationship struggle, or a personal goal you haven't achieved yet. Instead of blaming external factors, ask yourself, what part of this is within my control? What actions can I take to improve this situation? It's a shift in mindset that changes everything. The truth is, life will throw obstacles your way. You'll face difficult people, unexpected problems, and moments where things feel unfair. But the strongest people, the ones who truly thrive, are the ones who don't waste energy complaining. They adapt. They take ownership. They look at every setback as a lesson, not a punishment. So the next time you catch yourself making an excuse, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me? Or is it holding me back? Because at the end of the day, no one else is responsible for your success, your happiness, or your growth. That's on you. And once you fully embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. 5. Practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. We are often our own worst critics. When we make a mistake, fall short of our goals, or struggle with something, the voice inside our head can be ruthless. Why did I mess up again? I should be doing better. I'll never get this right. If someone spoke to us the way we sometimes speak to ourselves, we wouldn't tolerate it. Yet for some reason, we allow that harsh inner dialogue to run unchecked. But here's the truth. Mentally strong people don't tear themselves down. They practice self-compassion, not self-criticism. The Stoics had a deep understanding of human imperfection. They didn't expect themselves or anyone else to be flawless. Instead, they focused on progress, on learning, growing, and improving. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, reminded himself, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." That's a powerful shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, the Stoics encouraged people to wake up each day with a renewed sense of purpose and self-acceptance. Think about this. When a friend makes a mistake, what do you say? You probably encourage them, remind them that they're human, and tell them to learn from it and move forward. Now, why don't we do the same for ourselves? Why do we hold ourselves to impossible standards, expecting perfection while accepting the flaws of others? Self-compassion isn't about making excuses. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer a close friend. Let's be real. You will make mistakes. You will have days where you feel like you're failing, where nothing seems to go right. That's life. But beating yourself up over it doesn't make you better. It makes you hesitant, fearful, and doubtful of your own abilities. The Stoics believed that the mind is like a garden. What you plant is what grows. If you constantly feed it negative thoughts, don't be surprised when self-doubt takes over. But if you practice self-compassion, you create an environment where resilience, confidence, and self-respect can flourish. So how do you start? First, pay attention to your inner dialogue. When you catch yourself in negative self-talk, stop. Ask yourself, would I say this to someone I care about? If the answer is no, then why say it to yourself? Second, learn from your mistakes instead of dwelling on them. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Every challenge, every failure is shaping you into a stronger version of yourself. Finally, remind yourself that growth takes time. You don't become wise overnight. You don't develop resilience in a day. Progress is slow, and that's okay. As long as you're moving forward, you're on the right path. The next time you feel tempted to criticize yourself, take a deep breath and reframe it. Instead of, "I should have done better," try, "I'm learning and improving." Instead of, "I always mess up," try, "This is a setback, not a defeat." That small shift in language makes a world of difference. At the end of the day, the strongest people aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, get up and keep moving, without tearing themselves down in the process. That's the real power of self-compassion. 6. Never stop learning and evolving. There is no finish line when it comes to growth. The moment you think you know everything, the moment you believe you've reached your peak, that's when you start to decline. Life is always moving, always changing, and those who refuse to learn, adapt, and evolve will eventually find themselves stuck, watching as the world passes them by. But mentally strong people understand something crucial. Growth is a lifelong process. There is no point at which you arrive. You keep learning, keep improving, keep refining yourself until your very last breath. The Stoics embodied this mindset. Marcus Aurelius, despite being the most powerful man in the world, never saw himself as above learning. Every day he read, wrote, and reflected, reminding himself of his own limitations and the vastness of what he didn't know. He once wrote, "The mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, challenges, failures, and even setbacks are all opportunities to grow, but you have to be willing to learn from them. Many people think learning stops after school or after they reach a certain level of success. But the truth is, your ability to keep growing determines how far you go in life. The moment you stop challenging yourself, stop seeking new knowledge, stop stepping outside your comfort zone, that's when you start to stagnate. And stagnation, for a strong mind, is worse than failure. Because at least failure teaches you something. Stagnation just keeps you in the same place, year after year, wondering why nothing is changing. So how do you make lifelong learning a habit? First, develop intellectual humility. Understand that no matter how much you know, there is always more to learn. Seneca believed that wisdom is not in knowing all the answers, but in seeking them relentlessly. He wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That means reading books, having deep conversations, studying new skills, not because you have to, but because growth itself is the reward. Second, embrace failure as part of the learning process. People who are afraid of looking foolish, of making mistakes, of stepping into the unknown, they never grow. Why? Because they avoid the very experiences that teach the most. Every time you fail, every time you struggle, you gain something invaluable, wisdom, but only if you choose to see failure as a lesson rather than a defeat. Third, challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone regularly. Growth doesn't happen in routine. It happens in discomfort, in uncertainty, in the moments when you don't have all the answers. The Stoics believed that we should seek out difficult things, not because suffering is the goal, but because growth is. Epictetus taught that we should train our minds the way an athlete trains their body, through discipline, challenge, and continuous improvement. And finally, never let ego stop you from evolving. One of the biggest barriers to learning is thinking you already know enough. The wisest people never assume they have it all figured out. They ask questions. They listen more than they speak. They remain open to new perspectives, even if they challenge their existing beliefs. That's why truly strong people, mentally, emotionally, and intellectually, are always growing. At the end of the day, life rewards those who are willing to adapt. The world changes, industries evolve, people grow. If you refuse to evolve with it, you'll get left behind. But if you commit to lifelong learning, to challenging yourself, to staying curious and open, you'll never stop growing. And that, more than anything, is what keeps you strong. Life isn't about avoiding hardship. It's about becoming strong enough to face anything. The habits we've talked about today aren't just ideas. They're tools. Tools that can help you navigate challenges, master your emotions, and build the kind of mindset that nothing can break. But remember, knowledge alone isn't enough. You have to apply it every single day. So as you move forward, ask yourself, am I embracing change or resisting it? Am I in control of my emotions or letting them control me? Am I protecting my time, taking responsibility, practicing self-compassion, and continuing to learn? Because this daily practice, is what separates those who live with strength from those who crumble under life's weight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to grow. And most importantly, thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal. If you found value in this, don't stop here. Watch the next video on your screen and keep building the mindset that will carry you through anything. Stay strong, stay focused, and I'll see you in the next one.